let's get into all the games here for week 3. So this one's going live right now, guys. But Rob and I are still going to give you real quick our picks. We'll do this one quick because the game's already active. So nobody's not watching this live will really care what we have to say. So let's be honest.
Yeah.
So we got right now going on the Thursday night football game, Jets at the Patriots. The Jets are a 6.5 point favorite, and the over-under is 38.5. Now, I am using yesterday's numbers because that's where we had put that in there. So if you're gambling live, check out wherever you're gambling. The rest of this are updated from today. So as always, take a look at where you're at based on, what's going on currently before you place any money. I got the Jets to win this. I got the Patriots to go ahead and beat the spread here because they just stayed closer the last couple weeks here, the start of the season. And I got the under on the over-under.
Well, Drew, it doesn't look like you're going to hit that trifecta, nor myself. I mean,
you never know.
Football left. There's plenty of football left,
know.
but I myself took the Pats to cover this, but lose the game ultimately. And
yeah, I have the same thing. Yeah.
Yep, and I have the under because both teams have not been putting many points up on the board. It's very easy to say it's going to be a close game with short amount of points, which is still very, very well could be because you're looking at 14-3 at halftime with 14 seconds left to play.
So I'm saying we could easily be right 100%. We'll see what happens on that one there. All right, before we get into the games that are going to be happening on Sunday and, of course, the 2 on Monday, as I said, 2 on Monday, let's go over how we're doing so far this season here. So we ended up last week with Rob getting 6 win-losses correct. I got 7. He got 7 of the the spread picks correct. I got 8. We each got 9 on the over-unders. On the trifectas, that's getting the wins, the spread pick, and the over-under, all 3 in the same game. I got 3. Rob got 2. So that puts us at pretty close still for the season. I mean, it's 2 weeks in, obviously. No one's going to pull apart that much there. For wins and losses, I'm at 44%. Rob's at 38%. For spread picks, I'm at 50%. He's at 44%. We're tied at 56% for the over-unders. And for trifectas, I'm at 19%. He's at 13%. So right now, it puts me at 55 points and him at 47 points. So, yeah, Rob, still got plenty of time. Remember what happened last year.
I was about to say, you had a nice lead at the beginning, and I just came right through.
That's why I'm not talking trash this year until the very end. Then I will talk all the trash. All of the trash. So much trash.
Plenty of football left.
Oh, yes. All right. Let's get into that first one here. And, guys, we already went over this game with the pregame episode we did yesterday. So we're going to go quick on this one here. Nice and simple. Just here's our picks at that point there. So we got the Giants are traveling into Cleveland to play the Browns. Browns are a 6.5 point favorite, and the over-under is 38.5. It's the same spread literally as the Thursday night game going on right now. I got the Browns to win. I got the Giants to cover because I still think it's going to be low scoring, and that's why I think it's going to be one of those games that even if the Browns look like the much better team the entire time, you can still keep it close enough to be within a touchdown. And I got the under on the points.
Yeah, this is where we're going to start pulling apart a little different here because I went back to it. I'm taking the G-men to win this game, and obviously going to cover, and they're going to do it in the under because there's too much injuries going on for the Browns. The Browns are more of a Giants team than the Giants this year. What I mean by that is they look like the Giants last year.
Injuries.
Yeah, and our defense has been playing as a better defense. Their defense is also beat up a little bit as well. So the Giants are going to take advantage and get themselves a nice win to finally get themselves on the board, which, if you asked me at the beginning of the year, this is a game they lost.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy how things change up. So, all right, let's get into the first game that we haven't talked about and is not going live right now here. We got the Bears at the Colts. Take it away, Rob. You got this one.
All right. So you got the Bears going into Indianapolis. Indy is a 1.5 point favorites as of yesterday, and the over-under is 43.5 points.
As of today, I did update that today.
Sorry, today you did say that. So in this game, I'm going to take
Thursday for people not watching live.
Correct. So I'm going to take the Colts to win this game. The Colts are the better team on paper, even though everyone talked about how great the Browns are, especially going through Hard Knocks, how great Cleveland's going to be. They have not shown it. They have made improvements, but they can't put it together. They're doing what the Browns do best. They play like the Bears. I keep saying Browns, the Bears. The wrong B team. But you know what? The Bears are playing. They're not playing like the Brown Bears. They're playing like the Juju Bears. The wrong Brown. So Cleveland.
Way to try and recover there. Somehow I think you might have figured it out.
Thank you, football guys.
No one's gonna notice, Rob.
Obviously, the Colts. I don't think it's going to be a pick'em game where the 1.5 is going to make a difference. The Colts are going to cover this, and then I'm going to take the under the points because I don't have faith for the Bears to put up that many points against a better defense.
We're in the same exact boat here. I think the big thing for me is Caleb Williams until he shows otherwise, and I'm not saying he's going to be nothing in this league yet, but Rob and I both said we thought he was overrated for what he was coming out of this draft, and so far he has not impressed the first 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens there. Overall, things can change very quickly. You don't expect a rookie necessarily come out of the gates at quarterback and be an amazing player. It doesn't happen that often. We get spoiled every so often with the C.J. Stroud or even Anthony Richardson, who was playing against this week. Started off pretty hot there last year as well before his injury. But, guys, he's not looked good. And he's got a really good receiver group. But he's also got a bad offensive line. And we talked about that as well, where you want to help a rookie quarterback, get him a damn line.
100%.
And they didn't do that. By the way, guys, we have one. Be helpful when we have a rookie quarterback next year. So
I was going to say, it's amazing, too, because there's a quarterback out there that DJ has some better stats than, and that's Caleb.
Yes, there's actually a few, which is the scary part. Let's get into the next game here, which is the Texans at the Vikings. The Vikings, one of the surprises of the year. Who had Sam Darnold going in 2-0 to start the season, guys? Not many people. Not many people at all. So you got the Vikings. I'm sorry, the Vikings are a 2-point underdog in this. The over/under is 46. And guys, listen, I get it. The Vikings, especially if you're a Viking fan, it's a great story.
Those Vikings are so hot right now.
Like Sam Darnold finally actually being what people thought he could have been coming out of the draft. Remember, guys, he was the quarterback of that draft. The quarterback of that draft. Like, it was an upset when Baker was the first overall pick that year. That wasn't that makes sense to take Baker Mayfield first. No, people were like, what the hell? Even Browns fans were flipping out they didn't take Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
The Jets were chomping at the bits, and we're so glad we took Saquon, and they can go ahead and get the quarterback they would have taken if he was available at first overall like that, But I feel like I have enough time and history with this guy that while I'm not going to say it's impossible he's Geno Smithing us, I'm going to say it's not likely. Players don't usually play very well, very bad, for 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden be good. That's not typical in this league, guys. So I think he's going to come down a little bit to earth. Now, keep in mind, he's got some great receivers. That helps him out. He's got a really steady left tackle. Again, that helps him out. Like, he's in the best situation of his career. Offensive-minded coach that I have a lot of respect for. So I'm kind of giving you the pros and the cons there of it, so to speak. But I think it's going to fall apart. And I think this is the team it falls apart against because the Texans are just a solid team.
You're saying that the Jets and the Panthers were not good teams?
I'm saying that. And the Niners are a good team, but he didn't get any playing time. That's the thing. It's not a team 4. So I think the Texans will win this one and kill the starting streak there for the Vikings. I have them winning, obviously, with the spread as well, because 2 points is not enough for me to make any difference, in my opinion, whatsoever. I have the under on the points there, because 46 to me, look at what the Texans did against the Bears. Like, they don't mind playing a defensive kind of game when they have to at that point. Again, defensive-minded coach they have there. They got some solid players on defense there. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think they're going to squeak it out by like a touchdown kind of win at that point there. So Texans under.
Drew, we have a lot of similar thoughts this week so far. So hopefully, if you're right about a lot of these picks, that I'm coattailing off you, and my difference is going to be the winning factor to give me back up on the points, or reverse, either or. But I'm taking the Texans to win this game because they are the better team at the end of the day. The Vikings are they're just playing good football right now, and like that being said, like they're on a streak, so they're playing some good football. And like part of me wants to still be on this train, but I don't trust Sam Darnold to continue to do what he's been doing. It's going to fall apart at some point. And like you said, Texans have a defensive-minded coach. But that being said, I don't think it's going to be a defensive game. I think it's going to be more of a, I don't say shootout because I think the Texans are going to be up on them most of the game, but the Vikings are going to have to throw the ball because they're probably going to be trailing most of this game, and it's going to go back and forth. So I took the over in this game.
So yeah, 2 out of 3 you got. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Next up,
Milo said something like that. Well, next up, we got the Eagles going into Nolans.
Get the shrimp and grits. That stuff is so good.
After the Saints have been playing some awesome football, they're favorites by 2.5 points in this
Probably
game.
the hottest team in the league.
Yeah. Right after the Vikings.
Who would have thought we would say the hottest team in the league after 2 weeks? The New Orleans Saints.
I don't think the Saints fans even thought that.
I mean, you get it after 1 week because they played the Panthers, but you didn't expect them to beat the crap out of the Cowboys too.
No. And the over-on, so they're saying it's going to be a shootout with 49.5 points. I see that, and right away, I think Vegas is telling you, look what they've done the past couple weeks. Take the over, take the over, and they're trying to, honey dicky, if you will, to take the over. Oh, guess what? Vegas, I'm falling for it because I think we're going to go in the over in this game.
There we go.
I think Mr. Carr himself is going to continue to drive that car and get another win. And obviously, they're going to. I don't think it's going to be a 1 point difference in the game. So 2.5 points is enough to sauce my favor and edge because the way the Eagles have been playing has not been the best football. It's shown. They're missing Kelsey on that line. That push, the push is not being effective because they haven't been able to use it that well because they're not in the situations.
Well, it's like
they used to be.
Look what happened last week. Like they were up big time on the Falcons. Like they could have easily won that game multiple times. And instead what happens, and we got to say as a Giant fan, I love that it happened this way. Saquon Barkley drops the important, pass that would have sealed the game for the Eagles at that point. Then they kick the ball back to the Falcons, who then proceed to just run down the field like it's nothing because Vic Fangio, who with people like, oh, they got a great defensive coach now. He's been a great one in the league. I'm not trying to take away from his resume, but just because you succeed at one place doesn't mean you succeed somewhere else. And they went to a guy that does very much a bend but don't break. Look how far back those safeties were in that final drive. And when you go off the end of a season like they had, where they were losing games left and right, got embarrassed in the playoffs by the Buccaneers there. They win their first game, and you go, okay, maybe this is a different Eagles team. Maybe they've gotten their crap together, And then you get a game like this where, again, they only scored 21 points. They lost really badly. They basically handed the game for multiple reasons. You got to wonder, is this the old Eagles that we had? Or is it the Eagles that we had the second half of last year? I don't know. I don't have faith in them anymore for betting purposes. I can tell you that if I had to hope for it, I hope for them to fall flat in their face, obviously. I'm not going to hide that as a Giants fan. But if I'm playing with my money right now, I care about my money more than I care about my hatred of the Eagles. And my money tells me that while I'm going to go with what that tells me, they're in line right now. That I think that the Eagles are going to fall to the Saints because they are, again, the hottest team in the NFL. And while we talked about not having faith in Sam Darnold, Carr has looked good some years. It's not like that came out of nowhere. He's been injured with his shoulder the last couple of years and had a little trouble chucking the ball. That shoulder seems to be doing much better this year. So
100%.
And he's got a damn good receiver to throw the ball to as well. On top of that, he's got 2 of them. So I mean,
I was going to say he's got 2.
Yeah.
And
So
Kamara catches out of the backfield.
Yeah. So I wasn't even going there. I was going. He had a speedster. He's got an overall good one. He's got a running back. I mean, you got a pretty good spots to throw to. So I'm going Saints to win, Saints to cover. And I am going also over on the points with you. I'm right there, and I think it's going to be the Saints that play on the over.
Is that the best pick of the week, guys? Lock that in.
I think either both of you right or both of you wrong.
Yeah.
All right, next up, you got the Chargers at the Steelers. A good matchup of 2 teams also that are winning here to start the season here. And you understand why the Chargers are. They're a pretty good team that's got a decent coach now. But the Steelers, we're still trying to figure out how they're winning games. That's like the mystery wrapped up in an enigma smothered in secret sauce. Like this team has no right winning games point blank. Now,
is it Chick-fil-A secret sauce or is it like the McDonald's secret sauce? Because I know one secret.
Definitely McDonald's. But they're playing. They played the Falcons week 1, who didn't play their best game at that point, and they play the Broncos week 2, who Bo Nix is just not doing good right now. So it's also helped them who they played. But I think this is the week that changes, because as much as I have faith in Mike Tomlin to get the most out of his team, his most ain't enough. It ain't enough against the Chargers. The Chargers are a solid team at this point. So the Chargers are a 1.5-point favorite, and that's it. And I think that's given a little too much credit to the Steelers and what they've done. There's a 35.5-point over under. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a Chargers team that's going to run the ball like they've been doing 100%. A lot more often. That's going to go towards that under at that point. So, and it's tempting to go 35.5. Like you don't want to go to the over. You don't want to go with the under at that. That's way too low. No, 35.5 is very, very low. Yeah, but you're talking about a team that's had trouble scoring at all. It's 10 to 14 points a game is what you should be expecting out of the Steelers offense the way they've been playing lately at that point. So you put them at that. You put them at 20 at that point for the Chargers, which is a reasonable number to expect, and you're still in the under. So I got Chargers to win, Chargers to cover, and under.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Harbaugh is a different coach that they have not seen over in LA in a long time. The Chargers have not had a coach that's and probably over a decade that's a run first kind of mentality, because they've had a quarterback that had some arm strength that they could chuck the ball down the field. And Herbert could do that. They're just not used to it. They've been playing old school, try to do more defense of the football and run the ball, run the clock. So I agree with you. I took the Chargers to win, the Chargers to cover, because, I mean, obviously 1.5 points means absolutely nothing to me.
Yep.
I mean, watch it win by 2021. It's a foot and mouth. But I took the over because 36 points is what you're looking at technically to get the over. And you're looking at pretty much 20 to 16 is what you're saying. So, I mean, the Chargers, the Chargers, Steelers put up 18 week 1, which is field goals.
Yeah.
And the commander said, hold my beer.
It might happen when they played the Giants later on this year based on how we played against the Commanders, but you can't count on that. So
no, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game, but I don't think it's going to be that low scoring.
All righty.
But up next, let's talk about going into your neck of the woods, because the Buccaneers are going to be hosting the Broncos. The Buccaneers are 6.5 point favorites on this game, and the over/under, once again, another low-scoring game, is a 41 points. This one, I am going to bite and take the under in this game, because we're looking at two more defensive teams and teams that aren't really scoring.
They're not scoring? No one's hurt them?
What?
You said they're not scoring.
Oh, yeah, not scoring, scoring.
Oh, who hurt them?
I'm taking the Broncos to win in the cover, but the Bucs are going to win this game. I think 6.5 points is a little too steep, especially when you're taking the under, because that's telling me that you're going to want like a 14 to 21 game. And
This is a game that I think, and again, I have a decent amount of knowledge on the Bucs that are live in the Tampa Bay area here. This is a team that is this whole area is riding high basically on what they've done so far, because they've already exceeded expectations how they played just based off winning against the Lions there. But I got the Bucs to win this game. I honestly think it's going to be a blowout, guys. Like, this is a really good defense the way they're playing, and a lot of that's the coaching. It really is. And I think that you're going to see the Broncos get absolutely destroyed. Bo Nix is going to look really bad again, because you have a struggling rookie quarterback going against a very strong unit at that point on defense. It's playing very well in Tampa here. So, I got the Bucs to win, Bucs to cover, and I have the under. And a lot of the under is going to be because of how much little points that the Broncos can put up there. You got 41 points to go with at that point. I don't see the Broncos doing more than 10 points. I think it's going to be that bad of an outing at that point.
Ooh.
And the Bucs are going to put up some points. They'll put up 24 points or so at that point, but that still puts them nowhere near 41. Even if I'm a little bit off on that, I still have wiggle room at that point, even to go for another field goal or something like that. So I'm going to go with that as my as honestly, I think this is a pick of the week to me. This is one of those kind of games because I think the Broncos are going to get embarrassed in this game. I really do.
I don't know about that, but we can disagree. That's perfectly fine.
All right, we got the Packers going into Tennessee. Could play the Titans here, and guys, this is Malik Willis's homecoming here, assuming he is still the quarterback here. I know they still like to not rule out Jordan Love to the very last minute there, but everybody's kind of assuming it's going to be
MCL. He's definitely
there. Yeah, exactly. So, but guys, in the end, I just look at what the Packers did last week, and they did what they had to do to win. Besides puking on the ball with the center, that's a whole different gross.
That's amazing.
But
that's so nice.
They went and said, we don't have a good quarterback. And this is funny because Malik Willis is like, yeah, I won the game. But it's like they went at that thing like, we don't have a good quarterback. We got to run. We got to do short routes. We got to use the mobility of this new quarterback. And we have to play solid defense. And that's exactly what they did. Love him or hate him. And I get there's a large segment of people that just absolutely hate the Packers. And I get it. They win every single freaking year. And it's annoying to watch. But they have a really good coach. They have really solid players. This is not like the quarterback, when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback. And let's be very honest, Aaron Rodgers was a team.
100%.
He was a team. Like, this is a solid, well-built, young roster overall. And
second youngest in the NFL, I think, right?
Yeah. So I think
I
think they're still going to do what they got to do here against the Titans because the Titans aren't exactly a powerhouse. Will Levis is basically, for all intents and purposes, still a rookie quarterback. He has really fumbled the ball away a couple times already this season here. So that's when you put a good defense and a chance to get the ball, they're going to get the damn ball. So I got the Packers to win. I got the Packers to go ahead and just cover everything at that point. It's going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be a blowout, guys, for them. But I do have the under on the points because this is another one. And I have a lot of unders this week, guys. I'll give you a fair warning on that. I have a ton of unders. And I say that as I'm about to go into a few overs here. But I have a lot of unders. This is going to be a low-scoring game because Malik Willis cannot put up points. And the Titans have trouble putting up a lot of points there, except for the occasional they go off randomly. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But I think the Packers are still in pretty good shape there. And this is a stretch now. They already started without their quarterback. They won the first one. They can go into week 2. Then, rest this kid. Let Jordan Love get fully healthy because you'll need him in the playoffs.
Yeah, agreed. Jordan Love, they like I said, they're going to wait till the last minute to roll him out. It's an MCL injury. They said 3-6 weeks. When it first happened, there's no way they're calling that guy out to play.
They never put him on the IR, did they?
No, because the hopes is after 3 weeks you can bring him back on the 4th instead of being on in reserve for 4 weeks. That's the hope. So when you give the quarterback that much money, you're gonna ride or die with him. So you're gonna see that in that spot for him. But Malik Willis did not look like Malik Willis past. He looked like a lot better of a quarterback because they designed the gameplay around him. He looked better than Daniel Jones because I watched that game.
Jones, like 22 Daniel Jones.
Almost, yes. It's funny because the missus is a Green Bay fan, and I watched that game live, and she was like, "Who is this guy? He looks great." I'm like, "That's Malik Willis. He's terrible," but they're making him look great because they're making short pass plays. And as soon as she said that, there was a deep ball thrown where he was about 8 yards overhead. And then Daniel Jones did the same play about 15 minutes later.
Yeah, like I said, it's there's the comparison's definitely there, that's for sure. So
but yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking the Packers to win the cover and in the under because I don't have faith in Malik Willis to sit there and put up points that much. And it's been pretty fun to watch what's his face just either do like Oh no! Throw the ball.
Oh,
Will Levis.
Will Levis.
Yeah, Levis.
That's he needs to put a little more mayo in that coffee there to get going. That's for
Maybe a little pep in that step.
Maybe you should try some garlic aioli. All righty. Next up,
we got the Panthers going into Vegas to play the the Raiders.
Oh, the Raiders.
The Raiders are 5-point favorites at home. Wonder why. And the over and under on this game is at 40 points even. Vegas is sitting there going, I don't know what to expect in this game. It's probably going to be low scoring. And I agree. It's going to be low scoring of a game. The Panthers have been straight up dog doo-doo. They benched their starting quarterback after 18 games? Yeah. And Bryce Young. And who's their starting quarterback?
The Red Rocket. Andy Dalton.
Why she win? Because of the Daltonator. But I'm taking the Raiders to win this game, and I'm even taking the cover because I don't think the Panthers are going to be able to do much at all, and it's just going to be the government she shows what I'm thinking it's going to be, and I don't want to say that much defensive game because I don't think there's going to be that much defense, but you don't need that much defense against those offenses.
You know, this is one of the games that you and I disagree on. This is that game that we're going to disagree on. So, I think there's a little bit of a surprise going on in Las Vegas with the way they're playing. I mean, you got a team that's gone 2-0 to start here. Gardner Minshew has played like one of the best quarterbacks, at least passing yard wise, in the NFL. He's got thrown a couple picks, and that's caused some issues there. But you got Devontae Adams, 169 yards in the season. Brock Bowers, 156 yards in the season. Jacoby Myers, 90 yards in the season. They got 3 legit weapons to throw to at that point. Remember a couple years ago when I suggested the Giants should go get Jacoby Myers? Maybe I'm not so crazy after all. But here's the interesting part. I have more faith in the Panthers now with Andy Dalton. I remember last year when they went to Seattle and he put up over 300 yards passing against Seattle. And Seattle didn't have a bad defense last year, guys. I don't think that this is a downgrade. I think changing from Bryce Young to Andy Dalton is an upgrade. And you're going to see a different Panthers team. And when you see them start putting up points, yards, everything on offense, that's going to get the defense a little more pumped up as well. They're going to feel like they have a chance. They're not just in it for show. And that's going to be a little different there. So I do think the Raiders will still win this because I think they played very well, and I'm giving the respect to the fact they beat the Ravens last week when it was a surprise at that point. But a 5-point spread, I can't do it. I'm giving the Panthers the spread pick at that point. And I'm going over on the points. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a higher scoring game than people expect at this point because the Raiders, we already know, are going to chuck the rock around. It's what they've been doing the first couple of weeks. But now the Panthers, with the Red Rocket being his Red Ryder BB gun, it's going to happen. I'm telling you.
Rocket.
This is going to be like a 45-point game. That's how much points I'm expecting to go up at this point. So, like I said, I got Raiders, Panthers, and the over. So let's get into the Dolphins at the Seahawks, which on paper sounds like game. What?
A second 4:00 game.
Yes, second 4:00 game, and the Dolphins at the Seahawks, which just sounds on paper like the most, wimpy matchup ever. Here's a dolphin attacking a bird. Like I've seen that at Seahawks. It's not entertaining. So, but guys, keep in mind, Tua's out. Skylar White's the quarterback at this point this week now. Could be for the foreseeable future, if not the rest of the season. We'll see what happens there. Don't want to take light of that scenario, but we just don't know what's going to happen. Listen, I know they got Tyreek Hill still. The Cheetah and the Penguin are still in full swing. I can't. I just have no faith in Skylar White whatsoever. I've seen what he could do. This is a team that if Tua's out, they better go get themselves a goddamn quarterback. Whether it's getting Ryan Tannehill, who's a former Dolphin himself there, off the couch, whether it's trading for somebody at that point there. I mean, like Mike White is on the practice squad for the Bills. He was in with the Dolphins, for the last couple of years. Maybe that's the guy you bring in at that point. I'd have more faith in him than I would Skylar White even there at that point, but yeah, and I'm sorry, Skylar Thompson. I'm confusing the names here. I don't trust Skylar Thompson. I don't trust him. And that's my biggest issue I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Dolphins will lose. The Seahawks will win. I think that the 4.5 points at that point, the home team there, is not enough because this is going to be a blowout, I think there's a little bit of identity issue at this point, this team coming in and not having their starting quarterback. And that's going to get them down a little bit there. I do have the over on the points, but that is mostly because of the fact that they're still going to put up some points when you got those weapons around. And I don't have a lot of faith in the Dolphins defense. So I got I got the I'm sorry. Yeah, I got Seahawks, and I got the over at that point. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be pretty much a blowout this one.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, but I do think they're gonna be throwing the rock around quite a bit. But I do think the Seahawks are gonna win. It's hard to go into Seattle typically, and granted, they haven't been as good as they have been in past few years. But it's hard to go in Seattle no matter how they play and sit there and get a blowout. So I'm taking the Seahawks to win this game at home, but I think the Dolphins are going to be able to cover it because of the weapons as well. I think you still got Tyreek Hill. You still, they can still run the ball. So I have faith where the Dolphins are probably going to lose by 3. But up next at 4:25, you got the Lions. And this is actually kind of funny. You're talking about, a Dolphin and it's a Seahawk. You got the Lions going into Arizona to play the Cardinals. See a cat now. Sorry. The Lions are 3-point favorites going into Arizona. And over-under on this game is 51.5 points.
Ooh.
So they're expecting that ball to be thrown all around in that nice dry desert.
That dry air.
Yeah. It's a dry heat. It's not that bad.
I love it. They said it's 120 degrees, but it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
No.
You're still cooking eggs on a rock.
There's not a dry heat at that point. And also on top of that, you're spraying for scorpions. I can't deal with that. Speaking of which, your dad, since he's in Arizona, says howdy.
Howdy, Dad.
Perfect segue into that.
Yeah. But I'm taking the Lions to win this game. I am taking them to win by at least 4. So I'm taking them to win, obviously, because they're 3-point favorites. And I'm also going to take the under in this because I feel like this is kind of like a little bit of a trap game. Vegas is trying to do there's a trap to take the over on this because they're like, hey, look at these really good offenses. And, they did. If you took their scores from the last couple of weeks and just put them together, like it doesn't really make up and make sense for that. I think it's not so much the defense going to come out there. I don't know if I trust Kyle Murray to go out there and do what he's supposed to be doing because every year he's supposed to be the stud and just doesn't do what he's supposed to. It is a get right game for the Lions, but
not stud. His growth was stunted.
Oh yeah. It's too busy sitting down and playing Xbox.
I can't make fun of Bryce Young for being so tiny anymore, so I have to make fun of Kyler Murray again.
Touche.
Well, back to the classics.
Dinger.
Zinga.
Dink.
So I'm with you on a lot of what you're saying here. I got the Lions. I don't trust the Cardinals yet, though. I will say they played very well last week. I do think they're going to put up some points overall because Marvin Harrison Jr. was a beast. I mean, we got 4 touches and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But the one place I differ with you is the over-under. Whenever you're going to 51.5 points, that's a freaking high number. That is the highest number this week. That tells me that Vegas think this is going to be a high-scoring game, obviously, or they wouldn't have it so high. They're asking me to take the over, and I'm going to oblige them. I'm going to take the over because
since you insist.
That's 25 points a game. a team basically at that point. 26 if you want to get technical.
Yeah.
Like you're not talking 30 points apiece. I don't think it's unreasonable considering what these two teams can do on offense to expect that. So I'm going over on it. So next up, we got the battle of the Ravens at the Cowboys. And neither team has looked so solid so far this year. The Ravens are 0-2, but they did lose to the Chiefs. So you got to get a little bit of asterisk in that 0-2, though they should have won it if Lamar Jackson was a quarterback, not a running back. And then you got the Cowboys, who looked really good week one against the Browns. So we already talked about that in our episode yesterday, how the Browns more beat themselves and the Cowboys beat the Browns the way things were going. But then they get destroyed by the Saints last week. So, you
by the hot team of football.
Yeah, so you look at this and you go, what's going on here? And we talked about all the changes going on with the Cowboys, and there's a lot of changes that happen in that roster overall, coaching staff, everything in this offseason, and not for the good. I still trust the Ravens were going to figure this out. I just do. They've got too much of a history of doing well in this league that I just trust they're going to figure it out. Now, that being said, they're going into Dallas, and the Cowboys played extremely well in Dallas last year. So you can't take that out of the equation. But this isn't the same Dallas team, guys. Isn't the same Dallas team at all. And they only faced one good offense so far, and they did horrible against it. I'm not going to give their defense a ton of credit for stopping the Browns. The Browns stopped themselves. The Browns are not a good offense. We talked about this. The Ravens are a good offense in an unconventional way, because modern NFL is usually much more passing. Obviously, they like passing to tight ends. They don't like to pass much to receivers, except for Zay Flowers, who's be a stud. I think you put him in any other team, basically, he'd be a household name. But you also got Derrick Henry. You got obviously Lamar Jackson. Like this is an unconventionally good offense here. The defenses have a little bit of struggles, I think, because of the change with having a new defensive coordinator with Mike McDonald off to the Seattle Seahawks this year as their head coach. But I think they can get it together. I don't have a lot of faith in the Cowboys. And again, I'm trying to put my own bias aside as a Giants fan and just say this is a team that is not as good as it was in past years, because it's not on paper, at least. Until they prove otherwise, I have to assume they're not as good, because they lost a lot of players to Commanders because they signed every Cowboy they could have. They lost Dan Quinn, who was an excellent defensive coordinator, and Don Zimmer's good, but he's not Dan Quinn. And their starting running back is Ezekiel Elliott, who was basically a a short yardage back for the Patriots last year, because that's what he's down to at this point in his career. So, yeah. I'm going to pick the Ravens to win. It's only a 1-point difference, but either way, it goes to the, it's going to go to the Ravens. 1 point's not going to make or break me anyway, but the Cowboys are getting 1 point at home. The 48 points is the over-under. I'm going to go with the under. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I really don't. The Ravens are built to put points up, but they're not built to be a juggernaut typically on offense. They're more control the clock and put up enough points to make it difficult at that point for somebody to come back. And the Cowboys on offense, guys, they really haven't looked that great yet. Again, I know they put 33 points up against the Browns. That was the Browns making mistakes. They gave up interceptions, kept giving up penalties. They kept, putting them in position to score. And they scored a ton of field goals in that game, too. They couldn't close out the touchdowns. So, Ravens under.
Yeah. I believe what you said about both teams pretty much sums up, 4 games of football, if you will. But the only team that's got a win in those 4 games is the Cowboys.
Yep.
Like you said, it was the Browns who have a terrible offense. Defense is beat up a little bit, but
we talked about it. Dak Prescott had 177 yards passing in that game, and Ezekiel Elliott, their leading rusher, had 40 yards. So when it says 33 points, it's a very misleading statement of what their offense did.
Yeah. But the defense still is a good defense, and I think that's...
Ask New Orleans that.
Well, I mean, also ask the hot team football.
I hear you. Is it
only
the first team they beat? And I know what? I said this even earlier, so I'm not taking that back 100% because they are. But what I'm saying is the only other team they beat was the Panthers.
I know. Listen, I said this
as far as how good this Cowboys defense is this year. Especially
I said that Monday. Yeah, look at what the Saints beat. Can we really trust it? But I'm actually going to take the boys to win this game, and obviously they're going to get that 1 point. And then I am also going to take the other game because, like, I think both teams are in an identity crisis right now.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on. The Ravens and old Ravens would have won last week, but they don't know what's going on because their defenses, they're all over the place. They're missing some key players from last year, and obviously their great defensive coordinator. And I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and the boys are going to be able to squeak one out. Typically, if you look at the stat history of when they've lost games, especially against the blowout, they come back the next game and they play better football, a lot better football. So is it a McCarthy thing? Maybe, because that's what it seems to do. He blows someone out, he gets beat the next week, and then he comes back and wins again. He's done it. They've 15 losses in 3 years? He's done it 15 times.
Well, we shall see. That's one of the games that might decide the weeks for us here.
There we go. Up next, we got the Niners going into LA playing the Rams. The Rams. The Niners are 6.5 point favorites. Such a mean team over there. Hitting the Niners off of mountains. The over in this game is 43.5 points. There's a lot to be said about this game. Everyone wants to say the Niners to bounce back and win great football. I would probably stay away from betting this game. These teams play each other tough. The Rams they're going through some injuries right now, but it's still a divisional game that it's going to be a hard fighting matchup. But I'm going to take the Niners to win this game. But I do think it's going to be a closer game than people are giving it credit for, and the Rams will get this cover. Matt Stafford's too good not to play better football. And I'm going to take the over. And I don't think it's going to be much over. Or is he in concussion protocol?
No. I'm not even looking at that part. To me, it's just they're missing too much stuff on offense, guys. It's just, oof. I can look up real quick on that. I don't look at that. I already made my decision before that even. I can look up Rams injury report. But I can't get past the people they have missing right now. Like they've got some key players out. Puka Nacua, obviously. Steve Avila's out at that point there. Like they got some big names out at that point. Cooper Kupp did not practice. He got the ankle injury. You're good on Stafford. Kevin Dotson's limited with a foot injury. I mean, it's a lot of players. Key players on offense that they're going to be missing, and their offenses are bread and butter.
So, I just think it's going to be a tough game
in
the division. I'm taking the over. I don't think it's going to be much over that, but I think it's going to be enough to be over. I think saying that Vegas is saying with 7 points favorites that they're going to go down, it's just going to be 43 or 23 to 17 is what they're thinking. 24 to 17.
I think this is going to be a bounce back. I think it's going to be a bounce back game for the Niners. I think this is going to be a crush them kind of game at that point because the Rams are just missing pieces, important pieces. And the Niners are missing one important piece in McCaffrey, obviously, at this point. But they didn't seem to miss him too much week 1. Week 2, they definitely did. I'm going to say this is a get-right game for the Niners. You got Niners to win. Obviously, I think they're going to cover at that point, so I think it's going to be pretty much a blowout. I think the Rams don't do much on offense, and I think this is an under, actually.
Oh, spicy.
So, time for Sunday night.
Night.
The Chiefs at the Falcons, guys. And listen, as much as it was fun to watch the Falcons rip victory away from the Eagles there, this is going to be a Chiefs game, guys. There's not even much analysis even needed at this point here. The Falcons are a team that could do some things this year potentially, but the Chiefs, guys, it's just they're the best team in football until proven otherwise. So when you're playing 100%. The best, I'm going to take the best, especially when you're only giving 3.5 points to the Falcons. That's unless they lose by only a field goal, that's not enough to make a difference at that point. So I'm going to say Chiefs. I'm going to say Chiefs to cover, and I'm going to say under on the points as well because the Falcons have not been an offensive juggernaut, and the Chiefs have had their struggles as well, especially with guys like Travis Kelce right now. So we're going to see what's going to happen there, and obviously I think Kelce will get things straightened out before the season's up there. But yeah, I'm going to go Chiefs under.
Yeah, I mean, I put the over in this game, but I actually am going to leave it as the over. But Pacheco's not going to play. But I'm taking the Chiefs to win. The Chiefs in the over. I think it's going to be. You talk about bounce right games before. I think it's bounce right back game right for Travis Kelce because Pacheco has been the guy that's they've been giving the ball to, in the backfield, let him do his thing. I think they're going to have to throw a little bit more, and then which is going to make the time they're going to have to score more points because they're not going to run the ball as much because they're not going to. I don't know who their backup running back is. Are they going to trust them to keep running the ball against the Falcons defense? I don't know. So Mahomes is going to have to throw the ball a little bit more around, and then which is going to mean Kirk Cousins is going to actually have to utilize some of the weapons he has in offense.
So it looks like they got Cameron Steele as their number one running back right now. So yeah, definitely not great. 9 carries, 27 yards so far. So he's a rookie from UCLA. So yeah, who knows though? When Isaiah Pacheco started, if you had told me Isaiah Pacheco was starting, running back a couple years ago, I'm like, who? No. So
I mean, you're not wrong. Listen, Andy Reid's got a great. He's got a great history of picking up right talent for the most part.
Yeah. So listen, I'll say this: if you are a fantasy football player and he hasn't already been picked up, Carson Steele might be a good option to pick up real quick because
especially like in your flex spot if you're in a 12-man league. Heck yeah!
But it's also like, listen, if you're the Chiefs, if you're playing the Chiefs, you're not trying to stop the running game. You're trying to stop Patrick Mahomes. It makes it easier to go in there and just play the running back role at that point. So, we'll see what happens, but it's not a bad guy to pick up to try to stash for a week and see what he does at that point and take it from there.
Yeah. Excuse me, I got to go fantasy football real fast. But first, let's talk about some Monday Night Football because we got 2 games. So here's the first of the 2. You got the Jags going into Buffalo playing the Bills. Bills are 5-point favorites in this game, and the over-under on this is 45.5 points. This game, what can I say? I mean, look what the Bills did last week in the divisional game. 31 points. They've just been throwing up points left and right. The Jags, they should, on paper, be able to do the same thing. The Buffalo's defense has been so-so. They get a lot of credit, but I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm taking the over in this game. I do think it's going to be a little bit more competitive because the Bills have been going pretty hard. So it's been pretty solid football on both sides over here. I'm going to have to say a little bit. So I'm taking the Bills to win. I'm taking the Jags to actually cover this and the over in the shootout.
I'm looking at what they've done so far. And I gave the Jags credit for sticking, close by the Dolphins at that point in week 1. Then they lose to the Browns in week 2. But I looking at how they lost. The Jaguars have scored 30 points in both games combined. That doesn't give me a lot of faith against a Bills team that has a very good defense and not too shabby at quarterback, so therefore their offense isn't bad either at that point there. So I just think this is a game that I don't trust the Jags to do right in whatsoever. So I'm going to say that the Buffalo Williams are going to win, to give them their proper name. And I got them also covering the spread at that point because 5 points is going to be, I think it's going to be a not so close game at all. And 45.5, I'm going to go under on that because of the fact that, like I said, you got 15 points a game you're getting right now from the Jags at that point. So that means the Bills have to do more than 30 points. They're not going to do that. They're going to put their feet up, their foot off the pedal the second it's over. And they're just going to run the ball. That's going to slow down the scoring. and I got the under.
Yeah, well, their coach, Bill Burr, likes to hit the gas until about 30 points. So there you go.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's where I'm thinking it's going to happen. So we got then the last game is the Commanders at the Bengals here. And listen, this is kind of a scary one because you go, okay, the Commanders almost lost to the Giants and should have. The Bengals lost to the Patriots week 1. Like this is a difficult one. This is a game I would not put money on until I know what these teams really are. But I'm going to go with history tells me the Bengals are going to be the better team at that point there. And I got Bengals to win. Bengals even to cover the 7.5 points on the spread at that point there. I think they'll probably win by like 10. And I'm going to go under on the over-under there at 47 because I just think that the Commanders could not score a touchdown against the Giants. That's not good. You can't count on getting, 7 field goals. Like, that's not typical. So, yeah, I'm not expecting a lot of points from them. But their defense also made Daniel Jones look good. It made Baker Mayfield look like an all-pro. That just tells me that they're going to put up some points here. And if you put up points, the other team can't put up points, and that leads to, a large point differential. So the 7.5 doesn't scare me. But I think the Commanders do so little on offense that they won't score the over-under. This is going to be potentially a blowout. That's in my mind like right now is a possible blowout scenario there. So what you got, Rob?
I agree with you for the most part. I'm taking the Bengals to win and then taking them to cover that because they lost week 1. No one expected the Patriots to do what they did. But look at history. But look at the history of the Bengals since Burrow's been there. They've always started September slow. They start getting it right week 3, week 4. But it's
Burrow's often saying, "Wake me up when September ends."
Yeah, pretty much. Big Green Day fan. You really look like Slim Shady at the beginning of the year season.
Well, he just doesn't want to be an American idiot.
That's it. But that being said, the Commanders as well has no defense. Their offense, they have potential to be a better offense than what they've been with a new quarterback. History shows they don't do well against good defenses.
Yeah,
obviously, and Commanders played Giants, who have a better defense than people give them credit for, if you will. But the Bengals don't really have that much of a defense, so I'm taking the Bengals not to let off the gas. They keep shooting the ball down the field, keep going. You got Chase in; he should be playing all right. And I have a little bit enough faith in Daniels to put some points up. Not much, maybe 14, but it'll help tip it right for the over.
Yeah, I just think to me the big thing is I have a lot of faith in the Bengals defensive corner. Anarumo's got former Giant position coach as well, but a lot of respect in the league for him. So I just think that they're going to make Jaden Daniels a basket case with all the different stuff they're going to throw at him at that point. That's what I just think. I just think that rookie quarterbacks always have trouble against really good defensive coordinators, and that's the kind of matchup you got going on right now. So, we'll find out, I guess, this week who wins week 3 there, guys.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.